What's good? What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jace Ghost Phantom in this motherfucker right now, man. And right now, we're gonna be talking about how love becomes a means of manipulation when people are not genuine. Without further ado, man, let us get motherfucking started. People's lack of genuine expression is usually repressed subconsciously due to their negative life experiences that repress their genuine, authentic self, where the reference point no longer becomes the present moment but the past. And so as long as people subconsciously are carrying a bunch of baggage of negative influences that isn't being detoxed from their mind and body, because the body is the temple for the spirit and things like that, then the observation of their reality becomes based upon those reference points. In a world where people experience negativity really early for the most part, it puts them in a survival mode where it's like, okay, I gotta fight for mine. I gotta fight or flight. I gotta get out of here or fight this motherfucker. But it never is like, okay, let me stay balanced and see a new way through this, right? Because a lot of the times, people's behaviors is programmed by their childhood. It's programmed by their experiences that happen to them. So their behaviors just become this really automated, like already pre-mapped out, already pre-thought out stuff, where it's like I'm either gonna fight you, get angry and frustrated at you because you're exposing my manipulation, or I'm gonna go somewhere else and do that because I don't want to look in the mirror and do the work and things like that, right? Because a lot of the times, like I said, people are not truly being themselves. A lot of the times people are just living from the reference point of the experience rather than just clearing those energies out and being in the present moment. Because a lot of the times, like, even just living based upon past memories that are actually a lot of times suppressed and don't really come to the surface level unless a person does the shadow work and things like that, right? Man, people are not subconsciously aware of what's going on within their own mind. And so when you know that your subconscious mind controls 80 to 90% of your reality and people don't take hold of it, then it's like it's almost doomed and certain for a person to repeat the same pattern because they're honestly not truly analyzing and just going within to see what the beep is going on. It's like looking under a car. It's like looking into the computer. Let's check out what's going on with the hardware. Let's see what's going on with the software. Maybe we should free up some RAM. Maybe we should free up some space within the hard drive so we can process new things and stuff like that, right? And a lot of the times those things don't get processed out of the system. Like my stomach, for example, is designed in a way to digest food and send it out the other end. But when it comes to the mind, sometimes people don't really digest their experiences. And so when they don't digest their experiences and process them out, they kind of keep them there and it just becomes like a part of their reality when it truly doesn't have to, And so a lot of the times, just based upon those negative experiences that a person had, they would be convinced that life would have to be lived a certain way and things like that. And so from there, even in a society like the first world and things like that, or at least even the third world or any type of world, a lot of the times the energies of love itself can be used for psychological manipulation purposes. Like, love bombing somebody, making someone feel extremely loved, extremely appreciated, right? Only in word, only in feelings, but never actually doing the thing. Because a lot of the times humans and people themselves are not really very logical people, right? From the perspective of people would buy a car just based upon how it makes them feel. Someone might go to the retail store and buy them a t-shirt or an outfit, not based upon the price necessarily, but just based upon how that outfit made them feel. I'm wearing this outfit, damn, I feel fucking lit. Let me buy this shit. So, it doesn't necessarily take logic to make a point to convince someone, really. It really just takes sometimes just putting them in a certain emotional space and things like that, right? And so, yeah, and so it puts them in this survival mode via victimhood mode, right? Because when a person is surviving, trying to run around, they don't know what they're doing, they're not very calculative, They have a pre-made assumption about what reality is, what they should do and what they shouldn't do to get ahead, or experience a setback and stuff like that, right? So it's either fight or flight. And then it comes from this like victimhood mode. And so, because I noticed like with a lot of manipulators, like if you call them out on their bullshit or whatever and things like that, right? They basically start to just literally play victims. Like they start to revert. It's like they literally basically live inside of some type of childish mind. It's like they're basically still a child in an adult body. And so when you call them out on it, they start to cry. They don't cry. These make these like puppy eyes and shit like that. They start to like, but you're not supposed to find out. You're supposed to let me get away with my desire. I'm supposed to do this. Why are you doing this? It's like garbage, bro. Honestly, like, the fuck? So that's why I don't get down with it. That's why I hate people like that. For real. And anyways, so if people are unable to take their power and control over their mind and body through liberating themselves, right? Liberate yourself from those memories. Liberate yourself from those influences. Liberate yourself from those early reference points of childhood. So you can free up your mind in the present moment so you can be a conscious architect of your reality. Because either people will allow their past to dictate their reality, or people will dictate their reality themselves. And this is all done through the agency of the spirit. We are the observer, but when the observer is caught up in all these other, in that old cycle of thoughts and feelings of experiences, then the RAM is almost not free to, process something else. And so it's as simple as just jumping, and it's as simple as just thinking and feeling something different. It's as simple as getting up and doing something different. But see, the mind is always so good at pulling people back. But see, this topic is not really about change. It's more so just about how love becomes a means of manipulation by non-genuine entities and deities out here. You know what I'm saying? So then, especially, right? When people are not liberating themselves, then essentially people become corrupted and allow the world to corrupt them, right? And adhere to anything to get from point A to point B, where people almost become like very Machiavellian and shit like that, right? It's just really interesting because how far people are willing to go to get and take something from someone else that they could really just get for them damn selves. And so that's that whole survival mode of like, oh, I gotta take what's yours, I gotta get what's yours and stuff like that. I can't I'm too powerless to do this, but I'm gonna make you do this. It's kind of weird, bro, but I guess that's, like I said, that's the type of world we live in, and that's 99% of people. Like, look at how many scammers there is in the world, right? There's so many scammers in the world and they will do you dirty just like that, just so quick, just so they can get some food on their table. Things all because of what? The survival mode. I gotta fight you or gotta run away from you. And things like that. Like, it's just, ladies and gentlemen, this is the world we live in. But as a result of this being the world that we live in, the more one is aware of reality around him or her, the more one has wisdom, right? The more we're able to navigate clearly. Because a lot of these people, what's going to happen is they're really just going to self-destruct at the end of the day. They're going to destroy themselves. And it's just going to be there for people to watch and things like that, right? And so when you have wisdom, you're not going to get caught up in their self-destruction. Because at the end of the day, like, in a sense, misery loves company. Misery loves to bring people along with it to enjoy, whatever it is that misery is up to. For whatever reason, people choose to be miserable. And again, it's a personal choice, right? Because can no one force anybody to do any type of shadow work? Can nobody force anybody to do any type of realization? Some people are honestly going to choose to stay within the reality that they have been familiarized with. And you have to make that okay. I can't frustrate myself. I can't make myself angry by sitting here and expecting people to do something, to be something that they might not be interested in being and doing in this particular moment in time. It may arrive another moment in time down the line where they choose, the spiritual path and things like that to, enlighten themselves and enlighten others and things. Most importantly, themselves, because that's really the most important thing: the salvation of one's own spirit and things like that, right? So with a perceived lack of ability to connect genuinely with themselves and therefore others, The spirit they start to unknowingly resonate with over time in their own mind and body may be one of a wicked nature in their subconscious mind, right? Which deals with motives and desires, because motives and desires are subconscious. A lot of times people are not aware of their motives. They're not aware of why they desire what they desire. But a lot of times their intentions got hijacked when they were younger. And because again, like passion, aggression, desires, all these things are not evil. All these things are not negative. A lot of like religious people look at these things like they are bad because, for some reason they demonize the sexual energy and stuff like that. But these things are not bad or anything like that, right? It's just that when we take these things and apply and make these things very fleshly, then it starts to become like it just starts to become something that not necessarily bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just for the most part that passion, that aggression should be applied to one's own purpose, not necessarily towards like getting your intention hijacked via an experience and seeing life through that light, through that awareness and shit like that. And you're like, yeah, this is what I gotta do and shit like that. So a lot of people don't really have their own mind and body together. Their mind and body really belong to some other entity, some other deity. People really understand it. A lot of people's minds, a lot of people's bodies out here don't really belong to them. It really belongs to a deity. It really belongs to an entity, and that there's something living through them that they not even really aware of what they're doing. They just like, because again, like everything is a practice in general. Like they themselves are being rewarded by it. Like a manipulator is being rewarded by their manipulation and stuff like that, by manipulating others. It's just how far is a person willing to go and sacrifice themselves down that path, because like because there is a world that is full of entities and deities like that. And so when people don't know what they're doing and they resonate with that shit, they might literally go to that world. And then can you imagine a world of people that's constantly scheming on each other? I mean, we already do that here to a degree, but there's other worlds out there that are way worse than this shit down here. There's way worse places and shit like that, Just like, I don't know, and then to each his own, right? Because at the end of the day, like, someone might need to go there to experience whatever the hell, so they never want to go there again. So it's like, who am I to judge and sit here and be like, oh, this is a bad person, this is a good person? No, it's like everyone really is going to judge themselves at the end of the day. Like, everyone will meet their own maker, which is their mind that's stuck in their spirit stuck in their own mind, and they're going to see the thoughts and feelings that they were on. And that's going to be kind of like a roller coaster to whatever world they resonated with. So, hey, good luck to everybody. Don't fucking kill me. Anywho, yeah. But when it comes from so a lot of these desires are necessarily bad. It's not like desires are not bad. Like I said, it's just passion, aggression. It's the root chakra. There's nothing wrong with being passionate. There's nothing wrong with being aggressive. But on the flip side of the root chakra is the Scorpio energy, which can deal with manipulation and stuff like that. Not that the Scorpio energy is inherently bad. In fact, a lot of the times Scorpios are actually very nice people. It's just that when you're a Scorpio, you're really aware of darkness. Not darkness, you're really just aware of like the dark side of reality. You're aware of like the things going on behind closed doors. You're aware of like secrets. You're aware of other people's intentions and stuff like that, which actually makes a lot of Scorpios good detectives, good police officers, and a bunch of other factors. So, this is not me demonizing the root chakra. It's not me demonizing the Scorpio nature. This is not me demonizing the Aries nature. Let's never get that shit twisted, right? But when people's intentions get hijacked and things like that, a lot of the times they can start to use these spectrums of energies for a low vibrational design that at the end of the day shouldn't really matter to them, but it matters to them because that's how they perceive reality. That's how they perceive life, right? But and a lot of these things really just come from a very damaged, unfulfilled space, right? It starts to become something that has to do with the external world instead of that energy being attached to a purpose. Desires, motives deal with the subconscious, and when people don't know or feel powerless to clear those subconscious energies, they may house a manipulation spirit where now love, peace, and light is used for achieving that low animalistic desire and things like that, right? So a lot of the times people manipulate just to fulfill something that they didn't have when they was younger. A lot of times people will manipulate from a very damaged space and things like that. When a person is not really aware of that, then here they go trying to do all these Machiavellian type of things or whatever like that. Just not realizing that it's not really worth it, because at the end of the day, like it's basically like people in the hood, for example, right? Like they start to trade drugs and blah blah blah, and then like let's say you take someone else's drugs or whatever like that, right? Then you can't sleep at night because you gotta make sure that OJ from the block don't come and put the Glock on your goddamn head because you know what the fuck you did. And so this is this whole matrix that we are in. This matrix of survival. This matrix of the perception of black. They tell us, for example, like there's not much land available, at least in the USA and stuff like that. But you can drive all over the USA, and there's nothing available but land. So it's like, what type of manipulation are we being subjected under on a global level? And as a result of the very powerful actors that hold resources and hold power, how does that trickle down to the civilian citizen life and things like that, right? Because a lot of these things don't have to be the way that it be, but a lot of the times people believe that they have to run this way, do things this way, because this is just how the world appears to be. So they subject themselves underneath that design of, hey, dark traits and stuff like that. And then people become psychopaths. People become sociopaths. People become extreme narcs, extreme manipulators, and things like that, right? But I personally do not care for those things. What I care for is sharing the awareness to understand those things and stuff like that. Because a lot of these people, a lot of sociopaths, a lot of psychopaths are very, very charming and very, very good at making you think and feel they love you, but really it's just waiting to punk you and shit like that. So a lot of people are really, really good at that and know what they're doing with things like that. So it's like, man, gotta be aware. I'm telling you, there's some people out here that are very, very wild and shit. For real. And shit, if you don't believe that, then watch Dateline. You'll see what I'm talking about. And so the idea of showing love and appreciation, but for the sake of strategic, calculated objectives, by using love bombing and other manipulation techniques to make one feel appreciated and loved only in words, however, not in deeds. And it becomes a way to trick and bypass higher reasoning. And so, like I said, the love energy is very, very amazing. I'm all for it. But a lot of the times, unfortunately, in this world, it does not come from a genuine space and things like that. And so a lot of people will use it for strategic, calculated objectives and things like that, where, hey, I'm going to show you I love you and appreciate you the whole time I'm trying to take and get something from you. And see, there's nothing wrong. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with having one's personal own motives, own personal own desires and stuff like that. But it's like when a person is unable to be genuine, these things starts to be used for like just like a person's own darkness, a person owns a wicked to feed a person's own wickedness. You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. Like one thing in the world, for example, one form of wickedness we can observe is how much people love, or let's just say how much the people running the system love money, or the people really being used by the system love money, and so they will do anything to undercut you, get money from you, show you some type of love and appreciation, or use some type of fear tactic and shit like that to get your money out of your pocket. A lot of scammers do that and shit, right? And so, like I said, it's just that the more we are aware, the more we can deal with this world better. Because truly, like at the highest level of the world, like they don't even really care about money. It's more so about desire. At the highest level of the world, at the highest level of things, it's about desire. The more, because desires are not a bad thing. Desire is a really good way to get you from point A to point B. But make sure you desire the right thing from the perspective of it's not something outside of you. It's really, I mean, in a sense, like we do need things outside of us. People do need money. People do need clothes on their back. People need housing and things like that. But it's about also having the wisdom, the morality to get that desire and things like that. Because at the end of the day, when you're writing the script of your life, when you're writing the story of your life and things like that, right? If a person doesn't have the right morality, you will always be looked at in some type of negative light, some type of negative way. And then any type of manipulator, any type of narc, any type of sociopath, psychopath can't blame anyone other than themselves, because that's how they set up other people to look at them via their behaviors. And then, like I said, hey, And I don't know if a person is doing that, then hey, all you really got to do is just to work your way out of it. And you can't really expect anyone to look at you different or anything like that. It's just, it is what it is at that point. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people just have to look in the mirror and deal with themselves and be more accountable, right? With that being said, everybody, love everybody, appreciate you, and I'm gonna see you all in tomorrow's motherfucking video. You better believe it. Real stuff.